I mean, another beautiful mashup from Bill McClintock. I figured we started last week's episode with one, and intro music it should have a theme to it,
Right.
If not the same every week, there needs to be a theme.
Yeah, I like that.
At least for these 2 weeks, we'll have that theme.
It's two weird things that go together, like a sushi burrito.
Yes, I've heard those are pretty good, but I can't stand sushi, so I'm not willing to try them at all.
How do Californians take it when you say you don't like sushi?
I mean, some people are like, okay, and other people are like, how? How can you not? I'm like, I like cooked seafood. That's why I need grilled shrimp. I can't eat cocktail shrimp.
Oh, interesting.
And stuff like that. Like, I don't know. Seafood cold to me is just, gross.
So no smoked salmon?
Smoked salmon. Smoked salmon, oh yeah.
Oh, okay. So we'll put an asterisk next to smoked salmon.
Yeah. I mean, it's grilled, right? Or smoked,
smoked.
but, it's hot. It's not cold.
No, usually you eat it cold.
Huh. I don't know.
Huh.
Fair enough.
All right.
Whatever. Regardless, hot seafood only, cold seafood bad. Crab can be iffy.
Yeah.
Crab's iffy on that spectrum for me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm. But,
well, I wanted to share something with you today, Richard.
yes.
We talked about this before. I can't remember. Had you seen this before?
I mean, in my stats class, yes.
Okay.
But I'm sure they update it with different claims every so often. So
Yeah.
these are some new claims for me.
Well, the fun thing that I'm going to share with Richard and all three of you listening is...
That's being generous.
I like to name it and claim it,
Yeah.
Just put out there in faith.
Mm-hmm.
Spurious correlations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when something correlates, that means the two events or data, whatever, have some sort of comparison factor.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one we have here is the U.S. spending on science, space, and technology. Now, here's the thing. If you look at the plots over time, it starts out in the year 99 at around 17 billion. Now, at around 2009, it's just under 30 billion. So you can imagine a line going up to that.
Yeah.
Now, look at a line that is suicides by hanging, strangulation, and suffocation. It's almost like the two lines perfectly match up.
Almost. I mean, the thing there says that there's a correlation of 99.79%.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly accurate.
So, I mean, the question is what diabolical mechanism is, I'm going to guess NASA, since it's space.
It has to be.
Yeah.
NASA, this is what Elon Musk is up against.
Yeah.
Like, SpaceX is competing against the evil organization of NASA, which is spending its budget proportionally on suicides, question mark, by hanging, strangulation, and suffocation. Yeah. I'm assuming that they're also studying this as, I mean, in the vacuum of space, you can't breathe and all that.
No.
So I assume they're doing some sort of research by killing people.
Yeah.
And pretending that it's suicides.
Ooh, that could be it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, either they know too much or they're being experimented on.
Mm-hmm.
Turning frogs gay.
Perhaps. Or even maybe just offering nice life insurance bundles for the family if the person commits suicide.
Yeah.
And the person's like, you know what? That's a willing sacrifice that I can take. I'll do this to help NASA and my family.
So, everybody out there, if Richard and I end up dead, you know why.
Mm-hmm. Only if it's by hanging, strangulation, and suffocation, though.
Yeah.
Not by any other means. Just those three.
Not by stabbing or choking on something.
Mm-hmm. That's Clinton then.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, the next correlation, I like this because it has one of my favorite tropes out there, which is Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
If you have never seen the scene from The Wicker Man where he's yelling about bees, stop everything you're doing. Just type into YouTube Nicolas Cage bees.
I mean, that's one of the great icons, one of the early memes, is it not?
Yeah. I mean, it hits every level of memedom from it's just random, it's crazy. It makes even a good image macro because the guy is just sitting there screaming with a bee thing on his head.
Mm-hmm.
It's you just have to experience it.
Yeah.
It's like going to the Grand Canyon or the Sistine Chapel or something.
Yeah.
You just have to see it for yourself.
Yes. Also, I mean, are you also aware of how he got into debt? Like millions into debt?
From doing the Wicker Man?
No.
Or
From
just
just his life in general.
No.
I haven't shown you this video?
No.
Oh my word. It is incredible to see what this man spent his money on. Like, he bought sharks and like dinosaur skulls and private islands and haunted houses.
Is he trying to become a evil villain?
I have no idea.
Because that's what it sounds like, an evil villain. Because they want an island that's separate.
Mm-hmm.
They need, decor that shows that they're, a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
So they need things like skulls.
Mm-hmm.
Sharks make sense because how many bad guys have a pool of sharks and just
Exactly.
push the good guy in?
It's a great video. I'll show you where they like just go through and read the things that he spent money on, and you come away with it thinking, perhaps this man, when he was filming National Treasure, was actually stealing the Declaration of Independence, and nobody caught on to it, and everyone just thought it was a movie, when in fact it was a documentary on him actually stealing.
Or maybe that is why it was like a halfway decent Nicolas Cage movie, and that they just told him steal the Declaration of Independence. He's like, all right, I'm in.
And then they just filmed it.
Yeah, in his mind, he's thinking, I'm stealing the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, that might be the case. We like I said, Nicolas Cage leads a better life than most.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the stats.
We haven't even read what the correlation
No,
is.
we haven't. We haven't.
Cage.
Nicolas Cage just detracts from everything.
So, here's the thing. The number of people who drowned by falling into a pool correlates with films Nicolas Cage has appeared in.
Yes, it's the number of films each year correlates to the number of people who've drowned by falling into a pool.
So,
Now,
the correlation factor here is 66.6 repeating.
It's not as strong as NASA killing people,
Right.
but
That's still pretty good.
yes. See, my assumption is that these drownings are not necessarily accidents. It's that the more films that he releases in a year drive people to realize that they're not as good as Nick Cage, and they never can be. And there's no other option but drowning in the pool.
See that. It's sort of like my life has been nothing compared to Nicolas Cage, who gets islands,
Precisely.
dinosaur skulls, sharks.
Yes. Like, you
Okay.
can't compete with that. And, like, the more that you see him on screen, you realize there's just so much there that I'll never achieve. And so their only option is to drown in a pool.
Yeah. No, I see that.
But if they were, suffocating, then it'd be NASA. We know that. We know that. 'Cause
Oh, man.
that's what Nicolas Cage does. He inspires you to realize that you can't be that good. But this next one.
So, I like ridiculous things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about how you feel about that, Richard.
I mean, we're all fans of Nick Cage here, so
That's true, yeah. He is a godsend, sir. How can
He
you
is.
say that?
he's a ridiculous godsend. It's like, I don't know what else to compare him to, but like, imagine the world's first disco ball. You're like, wow, that's so stunning and incredible, but it's also super obnoxious, and I want more of them. Something like that, I'd say.
No, I agree with that. So, with this, it's the per capita cheese consumption correlates with the number of people who have died by becoming tangled in their bed sheets.
How is there enough people to warrant statistics on dying by becoming tangled in bed sheets?
I mean, honestly, if there's more than 2, what is going on?
Yeah, like,
I feel like there's a secret cabal of people that are killing people by bed sheets.
yeah.
Because if you kill somebody with a bed sheet, nobody's going to think foul play.
No, they're gonna think the person was stupid.
Because if you die by becoming tangled in your bed sheet, that's not like hanging with a dead bed sheet.
No.
Because that would just be a hanging.
Yeah.
So this
And that'd be
means-
NASA's fault.
Yeah, exactly. This means that somehow people are in their bed sheets, but you can breathe through bed sheets, so it's not like
Apparently,
you're being smothered.
like, I don't even know how to describe how you would die in your bed sheets. Like, I don't understand how you can get so tangled in it
Yeah, I
that
don't
it
know.
literally kills you.
This is actually really interesting to me. I might have to research this later.
Yeah.
And report
Have
back.
have there ever been any recalls on bed sheets from like any like home goods stores?
I don't know.
We'll have to look into this.
I feel like we're uncovering a massive conspiracy here.
You're right. This is why
Well,
these statistics exist.
actually, there might be a clue in the per capita cheese consumption
Mm-hmm.
because maybe somehow they're getting stuck in their sheets and farting from all the cheese they're eating,
You're right.
like the lactose intolerant people,
That must be it.
and they're just gassing themselves out
Mm-hmm.
and they die.
That might be it. But I mean, what if we've come to find out that the people who are dying being tangled in their bed sheets aren't lactose intolerant? What then?
I got nothing.
You're right. We'll have to do more research on
Yeah.
this one. I mean, I like the theory of the lactose intolerance literally killing you in your bed sheets
Yeah.
because it's twofold. It's you're lactose intolerant, so you're like getting gassy and uncomfortable, but you also like must have like sleepwalking or sleep terrors or something to the point where you're trapped inside of the bed sheet, and these two factors come together to kill you.
Yeah. Oh, and then the amount it correlates is 94.71%.
Mm-hmm. This is much stronger than
Yeah.
the Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's insane.
Yeah, this one we'll have to do more research into to find the deeper reasoning
Uh-huh.
between it, you know? This one.
So, we're all familiar with the American institution known as Miss America pageant.
Oh, yes. An
Now-
icon.
Oh, yeah. If you look at the ages of Miss America,
Mm-hmm.
they correlate with murders by steam, hot vapors, and hot objects.
See, this one is also another twist, like with the other one with the cheese,
Yeah.
because it's not death by steam, hot vapors, and hot objects. It's murder.
Right.
Like, how are you planning out so thoroughly that I'm going to kill someone with steam?
I didn't even know that was possible to murder someone with that besides the movie Commando, where he, kills the guy in the
Yeah.
steam vent.
I mean, like, I understand that it's like that these accidentally on like a non-OSHA compliant work site or whatever,
Right.
where it's like, oh, this vent is like spewing scalding hot water vapor into, I don't know. But I mean, it also does say hot objects, so that might be one of the bigger things, because this is 3 different topics,
That's true.
but if it's just hot objects, that can make more sense. Like, you get a hot piece of metal, like a branding iron or whatever, and instead of like going and branding your pal on the thigh or whatever, you go and you stab him in the face with this branding iron.
Now, here's what I would want to know.
Mhm.
If I took a big machete,
Yes.
heated it up like
Mhm.
super hot, and then hacked somebody to death, would that be death by a hot object or death by a machete?
I think it'd count for both statistics because it was a hot machete.
Okay.
Because, I mean, for one thing, it's going to be hotter, and what was that, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, when it was like the 1,000-degree knife cutting through things on YouTube recommendations?
That was great.
How that was like this huge surge in popularity. So
that
we
guy
know.
just made a bunch of videos, got a ton of money. Now he just lives
Exactly.
sipping martinis.
But I think that has something to do with it, because if the knife is... Because of those videos, we know that hot knives cut through things much easier. So it's going to make your murder much easier. We should look into the statistics of when those videos came out
Ooh.
and how
Now,
the murders of hot objects.
These stats just go from 1999 to 2009, all of them.
Okay.
But what would be interesting if there's an uptick in the number of hot knife murders after those videos became popular.
Yeah. That might be the big conspiracy there that
Yeah.
we've uncovered.
I mean, we could be on a huge story that was important 4 years ago.
You're right. Whenever those videos came out. But I don't think we ever discussed the actual why the age of Miss America is doing it. I think we just talked about both
Oh, yeah, that's
separately.
true.
So with Miss America, the higher her age, the higher the number of murders is
Right.
what we have to go on. The lower her age, the lower the murders.
Yeah.
I think this is suggesting that people like younger women.
Mm-hmm.
That's the obvious thing to take away, because when Miss America is older, people get so upset that they have no other outlet but to murder their friends, family, enemies using steam, hot vapor, and hot objects, because they're so heated, quite literally, that they need to express this raging fire, this hot-blooded emotion by using these hot objects to execute on those
Yeah, it's crazy because
ideas.
It really does go down, the number of murders with hot objects. It goes down when Miss America's age goes down, and then it goes up when her age goes up. I mean, there's even a W portion where it kind of goes down, up, like that. And so it amazes me how these things happen. So there's got to be something foul.
See, but there is the one instance where it goes in the opposite direction, which is
True.
2009. And we can just confer from that Miss America probably wasn't too pretty that year.
That's true.
That's probably the one instance where it was like, well, she was younger, but also maybe a 5 out of 10.
Yeah. And so they got a little bit more in Greece, so there was 3 murders that year with hot objects.
Yep, exactly.
It just blows my mind.
Yeah, so that's that statistic broken down. I'm glad that we've determined why we need younger Miss Americas. Are there any other ones that we're gonna go through right now?
I don't know. What do you think? We've been beating this horse for 17
I think
minutes
we
now.
could do one more. Let's scroll down until we. That one's kind of nah. We need to find a good one here. Per capita consumption of mozzarella cheese and civil engineering. We can do better.
Yeah, that's true. We already did cheese.
Yeah, we need less cheese. People, this one right here. This is the good one. All right. So we have people who drowned after falling out of a fishing boat correlates 95.24% with the marriage rate in Kentucky. So,
and it goes down over time.
It does. Both of these, which is, I mean, both good and bad. It means that less people, I mean, I guess it's only good because we don't want more people from Kentucky getting married, I'd say. But also, fishing boats are getting safer.
Yeah.
Because it means that people are falling out and dying in them less. So, but I mean, I think this one is pretty straightforward. There are a lot of people in Kentucky who are fishing. And when they die, I mean, that's just a lot less people available to get married.
That's true. I wonder if, as well, there is some sort of, I don't know, thing going on in Kentucky where people are purposely drowning themselves after getting married.
Oh, wait. Oh, yes. I read it wrong because it's the higher the marriage rate, the higher the amount of people who have drowned.
Yeah,
so perhaps it's wives staging fishing trips saying, I'll see you later, honey, and then they don't come back. So it's sabotage by Kentucky wives.
Yeah, I wonder if there's, the insurance payment is a lot higher. It's just an accidental death or something.
Yeah.
You just fall out of a fishing boat. That's interesting. Once again, we could be onto something here.
We could be, I think that, I mean, the marriage rate has gone down because of this.
Right.
So it's unfortunate that we don't have more data to work with on this one.
Right.
But I do think that because of this, that women in Kentucky are a dangerous threat to fishermen. To the point where if you are a man married in Kentucky, I'd be worried for your life.
Yeah, especially if you're into fishing. You're on a fishing
Oh, yeah.
boat.
Yeah, if you're into fishing, I mean, go get another hobby at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to stage a murder if you're, like, into music or something, I'd say.
Yeah, it's true.
So I'd say, again, just be aware. If you're out there fishing and you're a married man in Kentucky, you could die.
Remembered.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right. I think we've determined all of these great, clear correlations that show precisely what is happening in these situations.
And if I remember to do it, I'll post the link. But it's called Spurious Correlations at tylervigen.com.
I'm sure people could find it
Yeah.
if they're so thoroughly interested.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like I said, my stats teacher showed us his website years ago.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. But I mean, I don't remember reading any of these ones specifically. I think one of them had to do with like the amount of white bread purchased and the number of drownings. So,
That's
you know,
amazing.
yeah, it's interesting what's going on there.
Well, this has been a wild week, a wild time even, for social media platforms, for free speech, everything going on. Just had a slew of more people deplatformed from Facebook.
We did.
And they
We did.
blocked out of them.
Those dangerous radicals of expressing their ideas. What was it? Was it Paul Joseph Watson, who's like, his Instagram page is literally just selfies of himself or something?
Yeah.
That I heard, and I'm like, really?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, it's not political. We're just not liking extremists. It's like those Antifa pages you got on there.
Yeah.
Gets the old noggin jogging.
Or my favorite are even, congressmen and congresswomen who are calling out to like hunt Trump supporters down and confront them in public.
Yeah.
They get left up.
Oh yes. But I mean, like, the thing that I'm like so fascinated with about all of this is that it's like, why? The ban hammer hits both ways.
Right.
Currently, it's just swinging to the right. Eventually, it's going to come back on the forward stroke and swing to the left.
Yeah.
Like,
And all Facebook is going to be after the great ban war is it's just going to be minion memes. And
look, if there's any reason to stop it now, if there's any reason to stop the censorship, it's because we don't need more minion memes. If there's anything you can do, just petition your congressman to say we don't need this apocalypse, the minionocalypse.
see, the thing I can never figure out about the minion memes is the picture of the minion has nothing to do with what's being said.
No, it is clearly all of these memes. It's been thoroughly proven. I'm pretty sure. We'll go with pretty sure as these. We'll find some more spurious correlations on this, I'm sure. But it's that literally it's the middle-aged women on Facebook who watch these movies with their kids find them so absolutely fascinating. This adorable little yellow pill in overalls with maybe one or two eyes.
Okay.
They find it just so enthralling that it's like it's the perfect template for comedy for them because like it has everything. It's mildly silly the way it talks, and so you have to put it in their mindset. So that's why when you get something stupid like when you drop the kids off at school and so or whatever happens with just a minion in the background, that's why.
Yeah.
It makes that perfect sense.
Well, like the one I like is the minion is standing there with a sort of confused look on its face, and it says, "I did 50 sit-ups today. Well, actually, I sat up to eat a piece of bacon." I don't know. I'm not remembering it correctly, but that's basically what it says.
You got it close enough to the point where I know exactly what it is, and I don't ever want to.
Yes.
So, yeah, stop censorship, or else we end up with
More minion memes.
Yes, but I mean that's what California and Texas are doing, and Florida tried to, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
With all these bills of stopping social media censorship, because it's like,
Well, because the platforms.
excuse you, they're publishers, but also platforms.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm already assuming the words. We got publishers, we got platforms. They're always trying to be platforms, where it's just sort of a plate, was supposedly a place for people to share ideas, kind of like a phone company, or like a bank or whatever. They don't really care what the money's being used for, who you're calling.
It's like they are not held accountable because it's like they're just providing the stage and those are the actors on it.
Yeah, exactly.
But then they're also like, well, we kind of want to just get rid of some of those actors because that's our opinion after all.
Right.
And then you end up with just this nonsense of banning random random internet people with crazy ideas that aren't doing really anything to actually hurt anyone. And if they are, we have the legal right to prosecute them, in fact.
Exactly. Well, because I think what it's going to come down to is they're going to try to argue that they're platforms because that gives them sort of the widest berth
to not be held accountable.
Exactly. But yet they're acting like publishers.
Exactly.
Because they're saying, you can say this, you can't say
Yeah, and
that.
it's like, you can't infringe on our speech of who we're banning and all that. And I'm like...
Right, sort of like, like the New York Times, where they'll publish people.
Yeah.
And they edit what they say, and they say... Ultimately, they'll say, like,
yeah.
this person can't say that, this person can say that.
Yeah, it's...
Even though it's not like the New York Times is telling them exactly what to say.
Yeah.
Which
is why those publishers can be held accountable for libel and other things. And it's like, well, no, we're a platform. We can't be held accountable to that.
Right.
But we're also a publisher, which means we get to do these things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Really, ultimately, that's what it boils down to. Because people want to try and say, oh, don't you conservatives want it so businesses can do however practice they want? Well, it's like, yeah.
It's like, yes, and this is the reason why I don't like it. The fact that we are being driven to regulate these businesses. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't like regulation, but the way things are going, problematic. And, I mean, the thing is, the way that speech can only be regulated is to make it free.
Yeah.
Because the First Amendment means that the government can't say, well, yeah, we're just going to have to crack down on everything now because of these things. We're going to have to regulate these companies to close them off to just about everyone. It's like, no, they can't do that. That's not how the government works. Our First Amendment is making it so that they have to regulate it as free and as open as possible.
Well, yeah, that's the point because they're going to have to pick a lane. They're trying to be both publishers and platform.
And it's like, that's my favorite thing is like you're reading like the legal suits of Facebook and it's like, in this lawsuit, they're a publisher.
Yeah.
But in this lawsuit, they're a platform.
Right.
It's like, this isn't how the law is supposed to work, buddy. And I mean, wasn't it the, what's his name? The co-founder of Facebook came out pretty recently. And he said, like, yeah, we need to break up Facebook. We need to break up these tech monopolies. And he's like, yeah, they're way too powerful. And he's like, we need regulation. And I mean, he definitely had a more left-leaning spin on it.
Right.
But I'm like, wow, someone on the left who thinks that they should regulate a business. What a novelty.
Yeah, because my knee-jerk reaction is, I don't want regulation. But... at the same time, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, I am a publisher and I'm also a platform.
I mean, and there's also, like, legal precedent. I forgot who it was. What's it? I can't remember the dude's name. But he wrote an article saying, like, look, there's legal precedent that these things are privately owned public spaces. In the sense that there was... I forgot what it was, but it's like we need to pull up this article at some point. We'll probably link to it, maybe. But there was legal precedent that there are these things where it was during segregation, I think, or something. And it was just public walkways and driveways and things that were like whites only, and it's like, well, it's a public road that I need to get somewhere to be. Businesses can regulate, but also like probably not a good idea to make it so that black people are restricted from going into your business.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying, where it's sort of like a thoroughfare or pass by or something.
Yeah.
Even though it's on a quote unquote private space.
Yeah.
They're trying to block a certain class of people or whatever.
Yeah, it was interesting, but he worded it a lot better than me barely remembering it right now. So we'll have to find that article just to go over it because it's pretty interesting. It's like it sets up that these platforms are going to be set to be more free and more open than what they're doing right now.
Yeah, because like the big ones like Twitter, Facebook, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So many people use them
Mm-hmm.
and use it as their news source.
Yeah.
That it's not just like, some random website or whatever.
I mean, it is the current like public square. That's what these websites are, and it's a shame that's what's going on with them. Because my other issue is that Twitter says that even though Trump breaks the rules, he's allowed to do so because he's a politician. And it's like, politicians can do these things. I'm like, I don't like where this is going. Because, first of all, you're silencing the conservative voices. And what happens when people like, oh, hey, that Sargon of Akkad, Carl Benjamin guy. Well, I mean, he's running for office, but he broke the rules before, so we're going to have to get rid of him. And it's like, well, you're basically setting it up that you have to run for political office to have freedom of speech. And it's like, I don't like that.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, these people in these social media companies, they're not responsible to any voters or anything.
No.
And so if a politician tried to censor or whatever, you could always vote him out of office.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't vote these social media platforms.
Yeah.
And so because it is such an important source for people to have information, it needs to be open.
Mm-hmm.
And me personally, I'm willing to see, people on social media talking about, the evil Jewish conspiracy, or on the other side, we can talking about some other
fascist
yeah.
taking over. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm willing to see both of these because guess what? I am a responsible adult and know how to handle myself. And I don't need a nanny state to take care of me.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's kind of like we want our cake and eat it too. We want the benefits of a free society. We don't want any of the costs.
Yeah.
And part of the deal with the free society is sometimes you have to encounter things that you may found it.
Mm-hmm. And then the thing is, it's like, guess what? If you talk to these people and educate them and converse with them, guess what? Your ideas spread to them. So they're not isolated into a bubble of their own thoughts and the only people that comfort them. It's like, well, this person, he was kind of right-wing. We banned him. The only people that liked him were the Nazis. So then he became a Nazi. And it's like, that's probably problematic because, I mean, there are so many examples of, like, Joey Salads, who's running for office right now. That good old YouTube prankster. I mean, he did incredibly racist pranks.
Right.
Because, I mean, he was just caught up in his own shtick of making money and, like, oh, this is what gets hits and stuff.
Right.
And, I mean, eventually, like, he was caught, like, oh, he's faking all of this racist stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, when people talk to him and, like, confronted him about it, it's like, they didn't give him super incredible, like, oh, you've renounced it, we're going to give you all of the trust in the world. Yeah. But no, like, they talked to him, went to him, and said, hey, that was a bad thing. Don't do it again. We're not going to ban you from life. And guess what? He stopped doing that. He's done a lot more family-friendly stuff. He's been a lot better of a guy. And it's like, hey, look what happens when you talk to people and don't just scare them out of existence into these radicalization of either wing.
Like, yeah, plus if you try and censor people and push them out to the fringes, it kind of gives them a mystique.
Yeah.
And so the people who want to, like, be edgy and be into outside things, it just gives it an automatic cachet.
Yeah.
But if most people can see their ideas and be like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
I think it'll have a better effect.
Yeah. So, remember, if there's one thing to take away, NASA is killing people. Yeah. And we don't want more Minion memes. So, keep things free and open and keep watch on NASA.
All right.
I think we've talked through enough.
Yeah.
Talked through our ideas of the week.
Well, let's fire up goodbye. And wish our goodbyes, everyone.
Oh, yes. With our favorite way to close the show that sometimes works. Sometimes. Hold on.
It's coming.
Oh, yeah. See, we're so high quality.
Good night until we meet again.